Look at that dancing holiday stew.
Moonwalk.
Or prancing.
Moonwalk. I don't know. It's really hard to do the moonwalk with a toy goat who has no legs that move.
Doesn't have the right shoes on.
Yeah, he wasn't prepared for the action he was going to be taking on tonight. Yo, YouTube, welcome back to Live with Charlie, JC3 Cards and Collectibles, and a couple of goats. We basically just have a pen's worth now. Yeah.
Right.
Do you have the special goat with you? Or did you guys not make it yet?
Special goat is not ready to be presented yet.
Gotcha. So hold on to that secret, folks, until we're ready for that one. All right. So 1 million Cubs is here. Wow. Right off the bat. I thought you had a big announcement tonight, or did you do it already? I don't know.
I figured he'd be scanning Bowman in already.
Yeah, you should be way over your head busy with too many things right now. trying to rip a case or whatever. I don't know. I don't know that I don't know that he does a lot of Bowman. We'll have to let him chime in on that. But yeah, I didn't buy any. I don't know. I kind of wait. I feel like that's the stuff you can pick up pretty cheap after. And is there any like super big names that you have to get right away out of that? I don't follow the prospecting very closely.
It goes so deep. I don't even know. I haven't been following along this year. It goes so deep into the minors and prospects that you really gotta stay on top of it to know.
Yeah. Well, what I do know for the sports that I do watch is the Champions League has 2 finalists now, and they were both surprises to me. The first being it was Milan versus Barca, and Milan won, so they're going to the final. And I thought for sure with Lamine Yamal, they'd be going to the final. He played a hell of a game, but he I don't know. They didn't quite pull it off. They played well, but they didn't do enough to get through it.
Okay.
And then the second set this afternoon was Bayern Munich. Was it Bayern Munich? No. It was PSG and Arsenal. PSG and Arsenal. And I kind of expected Arsenal to pull it off. But PSG won. So they're going to be advancing to the final versus Milan. So both teams I thought for sure would get in. Neither of them did. So I was kind of surprised. Obviously, they're all good. They're all in the quarterfinal. They're all good teams. But
I also saw that Fnatic secured English Premier League licensing.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know how they're going to do that. I like Topps products, so I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
And Topps makes most of the good soccer products anyway, so I don't know how much it really matters. But yeah, obviously licensed stuff's always the best option. So I just hope the prices don't go crazy and they keep it accessible. But
yeah,
yeah.
That and plus they just opened that big London store, so I think that was the big announcement when they made that opening, right? That they also secured the licensing for that. Here's the answer to your question. It's kind of small, but all the top prospects for Bowman this year, and who's at the top? Do you say, Adam? Do you ask? Jesus Made, shortstop, Milwaukee Brewers. So watch out, Cubs. We're coming.
Yeah, one more Brewers prospect that won't pan out. Yay!
Oh wow! So what do we got here? We got Jesus Made, Charlie Condon of the Braves, JJ Weatherholt of the Pirates.
Oh yeah, Condon. I knew about him.
Jacques Caglianone of the Florida Gators. Slade Caldwell, Ole Miss. That's a cool baseball name. Slade Caldwell. Kevin McGonigal of the Tigers, and
Okay.
Frank Arias of the Red Sox, Luke Dickerson, New Jersey, Yairo Padilla, and Dominican Summer League. It looks like he's a prospect from there, and Raniel Rodriguez, another Dominican prospect.
That's that's a lot of names. So
Those are your names to be on
yeah,
the lookout for.
yeah, I'll try to pick some up in value boxes as singles and move on from there. But um, yeah, like I said, the shop was busy today. But yeah, actually, what was really busy was um the singles boxes. I could barely get in them
Oh, really?
to pick stuff out. Yeah, there was a lot of buyers in there today. So Jeff
Were you
just
like elbowing
refilled.
kids out of the way or what?
Not quite. Well, I kind of timed it just perfect because when I got there was only a couple people there, and then it was just like they just kept coming. It was, and some of it was Bowman buyers, and then there was a couple. Jeff buys a lot of collections and singles, so he was there today. So I think he had some people selling cards to him too, and then they were just taking credit and buying stuff in the store,
Okay.
boxes or whatever. So I'm sure that kind of ramped it up. And if somebody brings in a big box of cards, they're not going to be there for 5 minutes. It's going to be an hour.
Right.
It
Yeah.
kind of extends that. But no, but yeah, good experience in there today. I was able to pick out some good stuff, just staples, things that I love. That yeah, one
Bread
of the
and
things I
butter.
love about these types of cards, you got low end Shohei inserts, nice and shiny and stuff, but it brings the buyer to your store. And because of the coupons, okay, they got to have this card and maybe this other cool shiny Otani that's listed. And then they go, okay, well, I already got two. I'm also trying to find a couple more and hit the coupon.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about this stuff. It just kind of, they're the instant sellers, and then, it helps you move some of the other stuff that maybe doesn't move quite as fast all the time. But
Yep.
non-sport's been crushing it. That's where I've been really doing well. The Kakawows,
Yeah, I've been
oh
moving those too. Nice.
yeah, I've been selling quite a bit. I had a big buyer for General Grievous cards. I had somebody buy 8 different General Grievous Star Wars cards.
Okay.
So a lot of the stuff that I got out of the collection, that Star Wars collection I bought at the Goat Show, um, those duels, cards that I bought at a thrift shop for
Yeah.
like $1. It had $1.99 on it, and it was like in the half price section or something, or the sticker
Mhm.
was half price. So I got it for $1. I'm like, I'll try it. They had some cool photos of some of the characters on it, and that they've been selling like mad. I think I sold the Leia for like $8 alone.
Oh, really?
Um, and my Grievous buyer bought the Grievous. He bought the Grievous as part of his Grievous order.
Yeah.
But yeah, Star Wars has been doing really well. The Monkeys. I've sold a bunch of Monkeys cards the last few days.
So of course we had
Um,
May the 4th, which I saw a peek of Star Wars cards as well. I was kicking myself. I did not prep for that. I've been kind of
yeah,
busy with my you know, the man job, keeping me down over there. But but
yeah.
it was like the night before, and I was like, oh crap! Actually, it might have been the day of, and I was like, I need to get some more fresh Star Wars out. And sure enough, I sold some right away, but I really should have been pumping that up, the previous week.
Yeah, and I've always had a lot of Star Wars. I carry a lot of Star Wars, and I bought basically a ginormous Star Wars collection just a couple months ago, and I keep listing it in chunks. Um, it's just very consistent stuff. You can usually get them for a pretty good price, and they don't uh, they don't make bad judgment decisions in real life. They don't tear Achilles heels. They don't die too young. Well, I guess actors and actresses can, but um, characters themselves, are kind of safe from some of that stuff. The other thing I've been selling, for non-sport, I'm giving away all my plays here, but
Oh boy.
you know those Blizzard cards? You've probably seen the boxes on the shelf, the Blizzard, the blasters. It's for Blizzard games. So The
Oh,
cards
Blizzard
feature,
Games I've heard of, yeah.
yeah, the Blizzard Games ones. I see the boxes on the shelf at all the stores. You know, the those few like non-sport boxes that just kind of sit there and don't sell. Well,
Yeah.
I got a big stack of them on a buy. So I decided to list them because they're all like characters from different games that Blizzard Games has made.
Okay.
Uh, which ironically enough, a good friend of mine works for Blizzard. He develops different levels. So he does like 3D modeling landscape for like the environments. So like the rooms and the caves and whatever that happens to be the level that he's working on.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I found that very interesting. But those sell pretty well, especially the parallels. You get like a few reds per pack, and then there's of course like refractors and stuff like that. But um, yeah, so you never know. You never know. Breaking Bad stuff has been selling really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all in on the non-sport for sure.
You know,
It's
I have
I've
to
I've
have
done
to
well.
laugh because I'm kind of scanning my sales here today. As we're talking, I'm like, oh, what has sold, and I'm seeing some stuff I'm being surprised by that I don't remember selling, and it dawned on me that my oldest son is now helping me ship, and a lot of times by the time I get home from work, he's already shipped cards out for me,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
not even seeing some of these go through anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the dream, right? Is to not have to do the labor portion and just do the buying, the acquisitions, and maybe a little bit of the money side of it, to
And
keep things secure. But
you know
yeah,
what? He actually, I had to give him props tonight because he was telling me a little bit about what sold before I got home tonight. And he's like, "Yeah, you sold a three card relic lot too." And I was like, "Oh, really? How'd you ship that? Did you do it like Ground Advantage? Was the label like for something, or was it $1, 29 or whatever it is for 3
yeah,
ounces?" And he's like, I just shipped in a regular envelope. And I was like, ooh, that might be tough, right? So he brought it up to me, and I was pretty impressed because he had them vertical, so there were 2 seams to
hmm
fold on. But I was kind of messing around with it. I was like, you know what? I think I might feel better if we put this in an eBay 3-pocket envelope.
yep,
So I opened it up. He had already done that. And I didn't
oh
expect that. Like, he's
yeah.
getting it. He's got it down.
Repetition is the best teacher, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and I
absolutely.
don't use the 3 pockets, but I kind of would do it the same way. I'd take the 3 card savers and tape them together, which essentially is the same result.
The reason I was opening it is because I was like, well, what did you put him in the envelope? And he said, just just sleeves. And I was like,
hmm
oh, well,
Oh yeah.
some folks get a little upset when it shows up in just a sleeve.
hmm
Um, so I'd feel better if it was in the 3-pocket because then it's tucked in the pocket in the sleeve.
hmm
Plus, it's got that semi-rigid cardboard behind it to firm it up. Well, he didn't say, yeah, that's what I did. So I brought it back downstairs. I printed another label. I opened it up, and sure enough, that's what he had in there. So
Oh, good.
it
That's
was a
awesome.
proud dad moment.
Good for him. Yeah, I just do the card savers, but I take like just a generic base card and I put it over the top of the relic, where the cover where the opening of the window is, because that's where you could get a crease and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And that works pretty well. And I have plenty of base cards, so
yeah. But you
uh
couldn't, you couldn't get, you couldn't get 3 in card savers in an envelope.
sure. 6x9. So I
Oh
do I
yeah,
do
if
one
you
one in
upsize
each.
the envelope, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, one in each card saver, because you're gonna hit a couple of ounces anyway, so it doesn't,
Yeah,
the weight wise, you're gonna be about the same. So yeah, you basically spend a couple extra
yeah.
card savers, but that's par for the course when you're doing relics. They're
I
thicker.
forget about the 6x9s. I don't use
Yeah,
them too often, and I don't think I've even showed him where those are yet.
yeah. I use the 6x9s a lot. So anything like 15 cards, 16 cards, those types of quantities, I use the 6x9 and the 3 card savers.
See, and I
So
got
I
the
do the
three
same with the
pocket for
relics.
that. So
Right, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said it. It accomplishes the same thing. It's just
yeah,
using some different materials.
sure.
All right. Let's see. So yeah, the international news with Fanatics, I know they're really trying to expand, and soccer makes a lot of sense. for them to use that sport to do some of that expansion, since it is such a true worldly sport. And yeah, I'm guessing we'll see some more of that as time goes.
Absolutely.
They're getting pretty close to those big licenses now, with NBA coming up soon and then NFL to follow, the following year. So
Yeah.
I think they're trying to iron some of that out before they get there, so that they can really get those products in hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see more like shops and stuff. I know they want to be in more ballparks, have like a Fanatic shop in a ballpark where they would sell cards, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take it from there.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what else is news. Started my first soccer practice with
There
our
you
team
go.
last night. So that was a success. We got some good little players. I'm excited for the season, and my daughter's excited to jump in goal and save some goals. So
Yeah.
um, that was my big accomplishment for last night. That first practice it's always iffy when you get into it, right? You're like, you don't know anybody's name, and of course when you're dealing with kids, you got all the parents and stuff. But it was great. It was great. So got a couple of co-coaches, and they're really on top of their stuff. So I think we're gonna have a very successful season. So just a side personal note, and my daughter's excited to have me be coach, which I don't know. That's weird, because if I was playing and it was my dad, I'd be like, "Don't be coach. I don't want you to be my coach."
Yeah.
But she was all about it, so I think that's kind of cool. Hopefully, I do her proud too, and we have a good season.
Yeah.
So we got the treat schedule out. That's the most important thing. So everybody knows what week is their treats, because you gotta have that thing to
Yeah.
munch after the game, and so we got that fully taken care of.
Nice.
Yeah. So the other thing is, how about those Cubs? Today not so much. They lost today, and kind of a crazy one last night. They were down 4 runs for most of the game, then they came back and tied it, and then they gave up like 10 runs in the 11th
Oh, really?
to lose. Yeah.
I
So
did not see the other scores around the league. I
yeah,
just knew that
it
the
was a
Brewers
weird.
won.
Brewers did win. I think they lost today though. Or at least they were down like a bunch when I saw it at the shop. They were down by like
Okay.
6
All
this
right.
afternoon. So I don't know how it ended, but
Yep.
and they're
They lost
playing
9-1.
they're playing the Astros, I think, right now.
Yeah.
Is
Mm-hmm.
there? So um yeah, I'm glad to see the end of the Giants, because I think they're actually a much better team than people give them credit for. So we can leave them behind for a little bit and go on to another team. Cubs have had from the beginning of the season. The Cubs had the toughest schedule. They hadn't played a team that was under 500 until like last week or something. It was crazy.
So the Cubs still have a 2.5 game lead over Milwaukee and St.
Yep.
Louis. And then
Yep.
Cincinnati's right there, only 3 games back. So the Central is
Yeah.
pretty competitive right now.
It is. Yeah, definitely. I expect it to be through most of the season. I don't see anybody really running away with anything.
Cubs run differential is plus 58.
Yeah, they have the best run differential in the league, I believe.
That's great.
Um,
Maybe second, because the Mets are at plus
Second.
59. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I'm like, I bet those 11 runs last night took them down a peg, because
Yeah.
that's a pretty good chunk in one game to, at this early point in the season, to give back in
They
your
have now
differential.
lost
But
2 in a row.
yeah, they lost the last 2 games to the Giants. I mean, they were down pretty good yesterday, so for them to come back and tie was a good accomplishment. But yeah, they did end up losing that one in the end. So
Yeah.
all right. Anything else you want to share? I didn't have any specific topics for tonight. I figured I knew there would be a lot of stuff in chat tonight. I just felt it. So
Yeah.
I thought we'd really focus on that.
Yeah, it's been kind of a slow week for me on the card side with so much going on my office side.
Sure. Yeah.
It's been one of those months where half of my team has been out on like medical leave unexpectedly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a challenge, and that's been taking a lot of time from my personal pursuits. But I did get another one of my card drawers refinished and set up in the last couple of days. So that's coming along. Now
That's
that it's
good.
warm out, I can start flying along with the last three that I have to clean up and repaint. It's so nice when you get those set up
Yeah.
instead of being in the cardboard, monster
Yeah.
boxes and stuff. I can't wait to get those finished up. I've been buying a little bit of retail, just maybe one or two blasters here or there as I'm running around town, and I'm like, so it's I talk about me being really busy at work. It's sort of therapy for me to open some up once in a while. Like I stopped and
Sure.
grabbed some on the way home tonight, and I'm like, I'm tired, I'm beat. I need to get in the right frame of mind for the show tonight. I'm gonna open some 2025 Heritage, and oh yeah, they got a fat pack of F1 too. I'll grab one of those. So my son and I sat at the kitchen table, opened that up, got me thinking about cards again and out of the work mode. So I do like doing that just for the therapy aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of how I do it too. I don't open it as necessarily a profit piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to get a big hit and make some money on it, of course.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a scratch that, get a scratch off ticket once in a while is essentially what it is.
Right. Right.
It's not a big investment. It's, 15, $20, but it gives you a shot at, getting something out of it.
Yep.
But I agree with you. The drawer setup thing, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm down to just one single drawer in my 2 cabinet setup that needs to be
Right.
bagged. I got I bought a huge lot of 1971 football a while ago, and they were just sitting unskewed
Yeah.
in a drawer. Got SKUs assigned to all those. I need to do the Sports Illustrated for Kids in that drawer, and then that drawer is completely done. So yeah, it feels good when you have that, and it stops taking away from the time. I did post a sales day video today, and I had a good size Sports Illustrated for Kids order. And normally when it's unskewed cards, I pull those off camera because they take longer. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Screw it. I didn't have that many orders. I'm going to leave this on camera, and you can see how long it really takes to really show the difference between, cards that aren't, assigned
I
a
can't
SKU
imagine.
correctly and some that aren't. Yeah. So, but I'm almost done. That was a big project because I had a lot of cards that, I didn't have in a system
Yeah.
previously. And I don't want to, I can't take just large specific chunks of time just to work with those, especially since it's
Yeah.
such a small percentage of my sales now. But um and it's not so bad if I sell a single, Sports Illustrated for Kids card using that example. Not that bad. I can dig through it and find one card, but we need 12. You have
Yeah.
to kind of keep going back through it, and it's hard to remember which ones are which because there's such a variety to them. And
Yeah. And it's
so
not so
anyway,
bad if you got one monster box of cards, but when you start
right.
getting, 5, 6, 10 boxes of cards, now you're like,
35,
okay,
40.
yeah, if I don't have any kind of organization system, that becomes a
Hmm.
nightmare, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I thought it was kind of a good opportunity to really show the value of having the cards into a system where it's easy to find and quickly pull.
Yeah.
So luckily most of you probably started that way. I never intended to do what I'm doing. So I got a few box of cards. I'll just put them out there. And I think many of us do start that way. Um, so yeah, it's been I've created a little extra work for myself, but I'm getting there with it. So one other thing to note, I do have a Whatnot show tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I'm hoping many of you can join me. Even if you don't bid, I just like some people in the streams, uh, see if we can get a raid maybe from another seller. That would be fun. I might throw a raid out at the end. I don't know. We'll see. Some of this is still kind of new to me, so I'm trying not to do too much extra so I don't mess it up. But it's going to be a football sale tomorrow. And I got
Foosball.
foosball. No, that's a different kind of
The
that's a different
devil's
kind
game.
of football. But I got some kind of fun stuff in here. I got some rookies. I got some, Hall of Famer type stuff. I've got some numbered stuff. show you a couple examples. Here's a De'Ami Brown pink Prism rookie. Here's an Emmitt Smith All Madden Team Action Pack. Love the Action Pack cards.
Yep.
Muhsin Muhammad. Remember Muhsin Muhammad?
Absolutely.
This is the Platinum Blue parallel, numbered out of 24.99, I believe. Here's a Joe Montana from the Joe Montana trilogy. From his 3 Super Bowls. Got some Purdy in here. Let's see, pick out something else here to show you. I got a Jerome Bettis extra points. I just sold one of those actually. This one's kind of fun. A work done Planet Football. Yeah. Planet Football metal insert. I love that insert set. Everybody loves
I'm never
metal.
doing Cat Fancy again.
Yeah, the Cat Fancy. How did I know you were going to bring that up? Yeah, so just there's some fun stuff. Here's a Jamar Chase rookie. I mean, how can you go wrong with this guy? It's got a nice flag in the background. This one I think is kind of cool. The John Madden trophy.
Yeah.
For the John Madden team. They made a card of the trophy. I think it's pretty cool. It's got John Madden on the back.
Hall of Fame Madden card just the other day.
Yeah, Madden stuff. I always buy stuff with Madden. His stuff sells really well. He's beyond the game because he has the video game. You know, they're such a huge fan. I literally met somebody this past couple of weeks while at the draft whose entire YouTube channel is playing Madden games.
Sure.
And he has like 10,000 subscribers or something. That's crazy. So yeah, big fan base there. Here's some EX 2001. Who doesn't like that? This is Antonio Freeman from the Packers. We got some die cut gold Warren Moon. Here's a nice Bowman gold. We were talking about Bowman gold, Larry Fitz. So yeah, just some fun stuff. Good variety. A lot of 90s stuff because I dig that stuff. Destination Tampa, Eddie George. Everything will start at $1, and we'll move from there. Shipping is exactly as what it would cost. So with Whatnot, it is 73 cents. So if you win an auction, it's 73 cents. If you win, and that's up to 3 cards, I believe. And then above that, you know, it starts going up based on weight. So yeah, I've got about, I don't know, 100 cards here or so. We're gonna run those tomorrow, see how they do. And I think I'm gonna stick with the Thursday 10 a.m. schedule. I like it for the fact that tonight I can kind of promote my show for tomorrow for those watching this video. And Thursday is just a good day that works for me in my schedule with other things that I'm doing. And consistency pays off from what I understand with live selling. So I'll keep it to Thursdays. I might add another show in the week later on. We'll see. Right now I'm still kind of getting my feet wet. But I think I did basketball. I'm doing football. So guess what I'm going to do next? Baseball.
There you go.
And my very first show I did was soccer. So I'm trying to kind of touch all the bigger sports right off the bat here. I don't know if I'll do a hockey. I don't even think I have enough stuff to do a hockey show. But I would love to do a sport show. That's like, I'm kind of driven to do that. So I have some pretty good non-sport stuff that I haven't listed yet. Just not as emphatic about doing it live right now because I have room in the eBay store versus the sports. I don't really need to list in the eBay store. So it's a lot easier to just throw it in a live pile and let it go.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. So tomorrow, 10 a.m. Whatnot. If you go to my video that I posted today, the sales day video, even if you don't want to watch the video, the Whatnot link is in there. I'll post it either tonight or probably tomorrow morning because I pretty much fall asleep as soon as I leave the chair here from this show. But I'll post it early tomorrow morning, the link to the Whatnot show if you want to bookmark it and join me.
Adam's not much different than his phone when the battery hits the end at the show.
Yeah, pretty much. Just dies out. I do have a link posted on my Facebook on the Dollar Box Facebook page, as well as my Instagram too. So if you want to find the show, it's there. Oh, and Discord, of course. And while we're at it, here comes the Discord link. If you are not in our Discord group, use that sucker as an invite. Join us. It is free. It is fun. It is very educational. And oh wait, what did they call that the other day? Edutainment. I've been watching the Goldbergs. Remember the Goldbergs?
Okay. Yeah, I love that show.
And he was talking about, remember Slim Goodbody? You remember that show when we were kids? Mm-hmm. Guy who wore the suit with like all the
creepy as hell,
his insides on the outside. Yeah, it was. But he called it edutainment. It was edutainment TV. Anyway, sidebar there, but yeah, so I think it'll be fun. I'm enjoying the whatnot. It'll feel more comfortable the more you do it, just kind of like doing the videos and that kind of thing. But it definitely helps if I've got some of you in there just to pop in and say hi and help me out. I appreciate it. You don't have to bid on anything. I certainly don't expect that, but just if you want to, of course, but pop it. There he is. That's him. Yeah. You know what's funny? What I always thought was funny about it is he's got this suit, right, where it's the inside of his body on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But then he has this giant head of hair. Like he looks troll dollish or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like the hairdo doesn't, like, he should almost be bald, right? Because if you're trying to kind of show like the human skeletal musculature form, whatever, like a giant head of hair just looks wrong. I don't know.
All I can tell you is I did not care for it.
No, it wasn't for me either. Wasn't for me either. All right, let's get to the chat. We're a half hour in. Or did you have anything else you wanted to add? Any personal notes? All right, sweet. Troy is here. Troy says, "Good evening." Good evening to you, Troy. Thank you for your purchases in my last whatnot. I really appreciate it. I kind of forgot you were in Canada, so I went to print the label and I'm like, oh, this label looks really weird. I don't remember. And yours was the first one I did, so I'm like, did whatnot change their labels? It doesn't look like what it looked like last time. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, he's in Canada. So hopefully that worked out for like shipping and stuff, because I don't know. I don't even remember setting up like international shipping parameters on whatnot. But anyway, sometimes you just have to have something actually happen. Right. Well, he paid for it, so I mean, it's on its way. I shipped it right away, of course, but yeah, interesting. Bo says, happy Bowman release day. I did not purchase any Bowman, but I know a lot of people are excited about this day each year. Let's see. What did he do? Oh, so he did buy some. He bought, he made 1.5 times profit on singles, on live, and put the rest on, put the hits on buy it now. Got it. And still have 4 blasters to open. Awesome. Yeah, it should be a fairly easy money-making prophecy, especially if you're doing live selling. You can sell them all the same day. What's up, all? What are you cooking up for whatnot tomorrow? Yeah, I kind of showed it off. I'm assuming you're still here, Dan. If not, let me know. I can show you some more cards. But they are in my. So I do have the whatnot show already set up, so you can go bookmark it. I do have the cards preloaded in there, so if you want to see what's going to be available, they are there. Let's see what else we got. This really stinks doing it this way with this stupid link in the way.
Yeah, I don't.
Boom slang.
How that works?
Huh?
I haven't seen how that works.
Yeah,
on
I don't
your
know.
phone, because it's a different layout on your phone than what I get on the desktop.
It is, and it was never like this before, though. So I don't know. Anyway, yo. Yo to you back. 3 O's, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Bo says, Condon, Maid, and D'Angelo Ortiz were his best
Okay.
sellers. That I mean, Condon makes sense. I know who that is. I don't really know the other two guys. Dan says, is Prince Fielder's son in it, or maybe it's just his auto? I'm not. I don't know. I have no
Yeah, I
idea.
don't know the
I
answer
am
to that
not the
yet.
person to ask about baseball prospecting. That is not my place really in the hobby. Snappy says, good evening, Adam and Charlie. Good evening to you as well. Where's our Australian?
Sparkle.
Yeah. Yeah, Sparkle. Yo, what's up, guys? No Bowman for me today, but 8 blasters shipped today. So you'll be getting
There you
some
go.
Bowman shortly.
Sounds
I
like a
don't know
video
like
coming.
what the time frame is. Yeah, I'm sure it will. Keith does a good job with his videos. If you haven't checked it out, check out Keith's YouTube channel. If you want to put a link up, Keith, you can certainly do so. Yeah, I don't know what the resale shelf is for Bowman. Do you have to sell it within like 2 days or just tanks? I don't know. Or does it last for a week or two, or I don't know what it looks like.
That's a good question. I think Bo's been selling it for years. He probably has a good answer for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously going to drop off, at some point once people get the cards they're looking for. And I'm sure they printed a lot of it. A saw card says, good evening, fellas. Gutted after a Celtics loss. Yeah, I saw that. It's too bad. I thought they were gonna finish stronger than they did. Let's see. I bought a Topps Chrome football blaster that was on the shelf at Walmart tonight, which was the last one, and the box was dented. So hopefully that's a good thing. Yeah, it's funny how we can make fun of so many things like fortune cookies and uh astrology or whatever, and then it's like we buy the dented box because it's going to have better cards, or we don't wash our shirt for 3 weeks because our team won. It's funny how those superstitions kind of creep in.
Yeah. So
I get
here's
it. And I'm the same way. I get it.
I got some Bowman hype cycle stages for you. This is actually pretty interesting. I'm glad I checked on this to call back to your comment earlier. So the first stage of the cycle of the Bowman hype cycle is pre-release hype, 1 to 2 weeks before release. That's when all those pre-orders start going and the breakers start getting ready. Resellers may see gains on unopened boxes and cases. So the second stage is release week surge for 1 week. This is peak hype. Prices spike for break spots, singles of top prospects, first Bowmans, and unopened products of wax. And then you have the FOMO sales driving fast early sales.
Sure.
Weeks 2 through 6 is stage 3, early performance reaction. Prices hold or climb if key prospects start hot. If not, values dip, especially for lesser known names if hype proves unjustified. The fourth stage is market correction, which typically happens within 2 to 4 months if they are not those prospects that start out pretty hot. Prices for 90% of the players drop significantly. Only
Yeah, that
breakout
sounds right.
performers continue to gain or retain value. And then there is the long-term hold stage, which develops about 6 months to 2 years, where prices move based on on-field development. Breakout stars, for example, Jackson Holliday, Ellie De La Cruz, can see massive returns yet. Slumps, injuries, or stagnation lead to value erosion. Graded cards may re-enter a second hype cycle if a player debuts in Major League Baseball or becomes a top 100 prospect.
All right then.
I find that
So
kind of interesting. That's pretty clearly defined, and
it's pretty much what I thought it would be.
yeah, I don't see anything there
You know?
that I would necessarily disagree with or
No,
feel like I would
no.
be surprised at.
That's pretty much the same for like any product, I would say, minus maybe some of the pre-sale hype because there's such a Bowman, fanatic to it. But
Yep.
yeah, other
And
than maybe Topps flagship.
they summarize it and say the peak flipping window is the first 2 weeks post release.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's 2 weeks. I wasn't sure if it was just a week or
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, if you've got any, get that stuff up as fast as you can, of course.
This other piece is something that really hits home with me. As an actual sports fan, who often has a conversation with you about, sometimes it just surprises me the value doesn't always match what I think it should be with their on-field performance. The true value realization, it says, takes a year to 2 for most players on Bowman.
Okay.
Because they've got to prove they can make it, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, and this again kind of goes for any sport, you really need 2 years in to be considered a veteran, right?
Yep.
Because your rookie year is just your rookie year, and then your second year is kind of your sophomore year, right? It's just kind of okay. You had a decent rookie year. Can you keep that going? Are you going to be a real player, long term? And then yeah, your third year, you're still a starter. You're on the team. Things are looking good. You got good stats. That's kind of when you're seen as a veteran. So
Yep.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense. All right. I listed 100 1979 Moonraker cards yesterday and sold 8 of them within hours. Yeah, Moonraker, that's a great set. That is 007, I believe, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, non-sport for the win, for sure.
I've been tempted to get those before as a pretty big James Bond fan over the years, but I've always held off because I just didn't feel like I knew I would get a decent return out of it.
Well, I mean, a lot of it comes down to what do you have to pay for it. I wouldn't be paying like $1 a card for those or anything. But one of the really cool things about non-sport that is a little bit more relevant than sport these days is you can buy complete sets and
Yeah.
fairly inexpensive. And the cards all have some degree of appeal if somebody's into that thing. So you can buy like a set of, I'll just throw something out there. Let's say Ghostbusters 2, the top set from 1980, what was that? 86, I think, 85, 86, whatever it was. You can buy a complete set with stickers, because we all know the sticker cards are home runs. You can get a complete set for like $20, and there's like 200 cards in there plus the stickers. Like that's pretty awesome value. It's all going to be unique cards. They're all scannable. There's all all the other things to talk about that make it a good play. But there's so many different cards in there that could get a buyer versus you buy a complete set of 1988 baseball. You're going to have like 10 cards in there that are really going to be sellers, right? For the most part. And not to say that non-sport doesn't have some cards that sell better than others. Of course they do, but
Right.
it just seems like stuff like that. Those 8 Moonraker cards you sold probably would shock anyone that you would sell them. But somebody was looking to people that a lot of people that collect that stuff want the sets because if you want all the different shots from the different scenes in the movie, you got to buy all the cards.
Yeah.
So. Good evening, all. Crazy that the road teams have won all 6 games in the conference finals so far. I did not know that, but you're right. That is kind of interesting. Usually it's home court advantage in basketball, right? I don't follow a lot of it, but from my understanding that, usually you want the game 7 to be at your place if it gets that far. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Snappy wants to talk about penny sleeves. Do you take cards out of sleeves to scan and put them back in? Adam, I noticed most of your sales day pulls are raw, but some are sleeved. What is your process? Okay, so when I'm scanning, I scan them raw. So whatever cards I scan raw, I just put in a bag raw. And then I sleeve them when they sell. Unless they're condition sensitive or a weird shape or, something that where there would be a potential like damage issue, I wouldn't do that ever. But for the most part, I got a stack of, here's a good example. I got a stack of Garbage Pail Kids cards right here. Okay. So I'd scan all these in. I'd put these all in a bag, put a sticker on the top. They're all nice and safe and they're all together. That's what I love about the one touch bags. They do such a nice job of basically making a brick of cards and keeping them safe in there. So that's how I would do that. So the cards you see that I pull out of bags that are sleeved, that means they were not scanned. Those were listed by hand, and they already had a sleeve. So I take it out of the sleeve, I take the photograph of it, I put it back in the sleeve, and then it goes in the bag. Because if it's already sleeved, I don't know. I guess I don't have to. I could just take it out of the sleeve. Sometimes I will sleeve stuff I scan if it's like minis or there's some die cut to it or some kind of weird shape. Like anything, like I said, would potentially cause damage to a card, then I'll sleeve it. But yeah, 99% of the stuff you see me pull out, if it's already in a sleeve, it's because I didn't scan it. It was listed in another way.
Yeah, I do the same. My default is not sleeved. And actually in your storage over the course of thousands of cards, that amounts to extra space in your storage. Right. So the only things I typically make it a point to put in a sleeve, autos I often will put in a sleeve to make sure nothing like rubs on the auto or any slight chance that could impact the auto, right? Or like you said, condition sensitive, unique die cuts with weird corners and edges. I don't want those catching on anything. So I feel it's better to have it in a sleeve because it's more standardized. Or some chrome finishes, just seem to be a little more condition sensitive, and I don't want to take a chance on higher end chrome finishes and parallels where I don't want to take a chance on getting an extra scratch in there sometime, or someone's pulling it out and accidentally drops it. The penny sleeve gives you a little protection for the corners too.
Yeah, I also do it for acetate cards. They get, if they get any kind of warm, as weird as it sounds, so if you got them packed tight in a drawer or something, they'll stick together. And if there's foil printing on that acetate card, the foil will come off. You'll notice that a lot with like the old EX cards and stuff.
Yeah.
So those I'll sleeve, but I generally don't scan those anyway. So those would end up in a sleeve likely. But sleeves, they cost money, and if you've got 100,000 cards, which is about what I have in my two cabinets, it's 100,000 sleeves I'd have to put together in there. And Charlie's right, I wouldn't be able to fit as many cards either because they'd all be sleeved. But yeah, so when I make, if I make a sale and I got a stack of cards like this that's sold, I've got my sleeves here. I'll sleeve them all up and put them in the card saver and put them in an envelope and ship them out. So it doesn't take much to just add it into a sleeve later.
Yeah, I guess the other thing I typically put in a sleeve is vintage stickers, because as I'm going through
they
cards
fall apart.
and handling them, I don't want to accidentally, with my thumb get too much friction and then I pull it right from the adhesive, because that tends to give a little bit as they get significantly older. I had a Star Wars sticker, 40 plus years old this week. Poor Admiral Akbar didn't survive the mission, and the adhesive completely gave way in transit to someone. So I tend to try and protect those a little bit more too and put them in sleeves.
Sometimes too, the sticker isn't placed perfectly on the paper backing, and you'll have like a little bit of the sticky edge that, is kind of exposed, and it could either stick to something or get dirty or, whatever the case, get bent.
Yeah.
Or like Charlie said, that, the sticker pulls off as you're going through it. So yeah, there's some exceptions to it, but generally if I scan it, it stays raw. So let's say I have a stack of cards like this that are sleeved, right? And they are all scannable. I take them all out of the sleeves. The sleeves go in my little, sleeves by the order supply here. These will all get scanned, go in a bag, and now I use these sleeves for whatever my next sales are. So that my sleeves are, I kind of, this is gonna sound weird, but I kind of always want my sleeves to be active. I don't want them just sit in a drawer. I'd rather use it to protect a card that I have to ship. And then when it's that card's turn and it sells, it'll go into a sleeve and it'll ship.
Yeah.
You have to remember too that everyone assumes that the sleeve is gonna, protect a card. Not always. Like if you look at a lot of Chrome cards, when they're in sleeves for a while, they'll get stuck to the sleeve, inside of the sleeve, and you kind of got to peel them off and stuff. So the sleeve isn't necessarily better for that either.
Yeah, and interestingly
Not that
enough,
it'll necessarily damage it, but yeah,
right.
it just looks like crap when it's all stuck to the sleeve.
Interestingly enough, the scanner that Adam and I used, the FI 8170, will scan in sleeves, but personally, I haven't even tried it. Have you, Adam?
No, nope.
Yeah.
No, I have zero interest in it. So I think it's important. You have to decide how you want to do things, and I think it's important to keep consistency with that. So all of my cards, unless they're graded or something like that, or they come in a factory sealed container with a panini sticker over it or whatever. None of my stuff gets photographed in sleeves or top loads. It's all raw because I want the card. If someone's going to look at the image of the card, I want them to see exactly the card. I don't want to see, shine from the sleeve or a little crease in
Right.
the sleeve or a wave in the sleeve or whatever. I want the card to be under its best representation, and that's to be raw. I also think it does make for a better picture. You're going to get the good refractor surface and all that. So if that's how I do it when I photograph, why would I scan them in sleeves? That wouldn't make a lot of sense. Wouldn't keep consistent for my brand. As a matter of
Right.
fact, I brand all my listings now. I was using the banner branding with Card Dealer Pro and scanning, for a long time. Now I've created a banner to add to each of my photos where I'm doing my own pictures, not scanning the card, because I want that branding out there. I want somebody to look at that and go, oh, that's got a dollar box banner on it. I know I can buy this card and trust that it'll get to me and it'll be clean and all that good stuff. So
Right.
so I want the ultimate goal is for someone to look at your item and go, oh, I know who that is. I know what seller that is. I've bought from that seller before, and have no hesitation about buying. So creating that brand, it also kind of adds a little bit of just kind of reiterating the picture thing. It does kind of add a little bit of a watermark situation, almost like somebody can't really download your photo and use it. I know the image isn't over the photo itself, but still, somebody wanted to download my photo, they'd have to crop out the banner, and like it would be some work. So
Yeah.
if you want to do that for a $2 card I'm selling to steal my picture, great. I don't think that I have to go any further than that to prevent it.
I remember listening to a major content producer on YouTube who was talking
Me?
about
Was it me? Was it me,
no,
Charlie?
no, it was
Oh,
not you. They were talking about their sourcing and when they're shopping for things on eBay and such, and they're like, one of the things I look for is, are the photos in sleeves? Because if they're in sleeves, it tells me that they take care of their cards and it's should be in good condition. And I disagree with that, to be honest. I'm like, I don't first of all, I don't think whether the image is sleeved or not tells you anything about the card. And I think it might be the opposite. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like it would be tougher for me to see a true condition if it's in a sleeve.
Well, and one thing I can tell you, because I do have some experience of taking all the pictures with cards in top load, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, they're going to want to see this in a top load, that I
Yeah.
protect it and take care of it. And it's a nice top load. And that was kind of how I started. Was I did a lot of my pictures that way, and the cards were already in top load, so why take them out? It's more
Yeah.
work for me. And I kept them all in top load. But I can't tell you how many times I would get a message from a buyer
Take
saying,
it
"Can you
out. Give me
please
the
take it out
image.
of the top load
Yeah.
and take some pictures and send them to me?" And that's a fair request, because you're
Yeah.
right. You're not going to get the true picture of what that is. Does it have a little dog ear to the corner? Does it have some
Yep.
chipping on the edge? The top load can skew a lot of that.
Yep.
So,
Is there a surface
um,
scratch? Yeah.
yeah, I'm a raw picture guy. I want you to see exactly what you're going to get. I don't care what top load it gets sent in. I don't care what sleeve it gets sent in. I want to make sure that you get the card that you're buying.
Right.
And regardless of what sleeve it ends up in and ships in, shouldn't really matter.
Right.
If you don't like the sleeve I sent it in, take it out of that sleeve and put it in another one for a half a penny. Um, so yeah, I think it gives the truest representation of the card. And most of the time when I'm photographing a card, it's because I don't think it will look good going through a scanner. So why would I take it through a piece of plastic film?
Good point.
And you're still filtering your image. What's the point? You might as well scan it then. So yeah. So that's kind of my take on that one. All right. Bargain Boxer wants to know if Urethra is still around. I wish. We ask about her all the time. She's never back here. I don't know what she's doing.
I've done a
Yeah, she was.
few searches and I've struck
I
out.
have too. I'm kind of nervous when I type it into my search bar, but I've looked for her a few times too, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll do like schedule some kind of gathering or something for the national and put it out there. Maybe she'll just show up and be like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys," and we'll be like, "What the heck?" I could. That would be like the biggest long game of I'm gonna play hide and seek until
Right.
until I can be there in person. That'd be well done. I would buy you a drink for that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Oh, I think I clicked the link. Darn it. You're all gonna see the link in there to use StreamYard. Just ignore that. Uh Keith says, enjoying all the vids. What's on the table is pretty cool. I've got a few ideas for vids, but haven't had much time to record lately. Yeah, I wanted to have something, and I've gotten pretty good feedback on it. I wanted to have something that was kind of like my sales day videos, but I didn't want to do a sales day video every day. I think that gets a little boring and monotonous for the viewers. I don't necessarily always want to show everything I've sold, even though, of course, it's basically public record. You could go look at my sales like Charlie does. Charlie's a scraper. So,
Yeah, for sure.
um, but I have other content I want to put out there. I don't want to just show what I've sold. That's a very small piece of running everything. So I like the daily vlog, the what's on my desk, just kind of go over, well, this is what I'm working on today. And, um, this is my rolling list of activities. And just so you guys kind of have maybe some sort of picture of what I actually do or try to do. um, because there's a lot more to it than just, oh, I sold some cards on eBay. There's, the card show that we're doing. I've got different dealers I work with here for buying collections. I've got a shop that I work with, regularly. I supply kids packs to a store in the mall, that sells, actually little kids, athletic clothing. So, I just have other things that are involved that are outside of just that little piece of regular video that I take. So glad you're enjoying it. I'm going to try to keep it going. I think it's kind of fun, and I kind of have to make a list for myself in the morning of what I need to do anyway. Why not film it and let you know what's supposedly the goal? It also kind of holds me accountable. It's sort of like, you want to start going to the gym every day, right? So if you make a video of yourself and you put it on YouTube saying, "Hey, I'm going to the gym today," and you got to make a video the next day about how the gym went, you're probably going to go to the gym because you're going to look like an idiot to everybody on that video. So I kind of like the accountability of it. Like, okay, I said I was going to order my business cards. I should probably do that today, or I'm going to have to explain tomorrow why I didn't. Or a week from now why I don't have them because I didn't order them yet. That, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy them, and I'm always looking for feedback. And um, I like some consistency in videos, but I get bored really easily too. So I like to shake it up a little bit and try to do some different series of videos and just, I don't know, make a different take on it. But I do like the vlog. I think it's a good way to make a video. Those are pretty easy for me. It's not like a ton of editing or anything, which I need at this point. I'm just so busy with running the business um, that I don't want something that's going to be as editing heavy as it was on the first videos I was making when I had a lot more time.
Sure.
So yeah, I like your videos too, Keith. I think you have a good pace. I think your information, it holds my attention. That's probably the number one thing you have to do. If you only have people watching 5 seconds of all your videos, your videos aren't really relevant. Um, and I don't feel like your content is that way. I stick around. Um, but yeah, I think maybe you just got to find like your thing, like what is going to be your thing that you're going to make videos of. Um, if it's breaking, it doesn't have to be unique from everyone else, but you got to find out what your thing is. And that sounds like easy, but it's not. If you have a YouTube channel, right, Charlie? It's
Yep.
hard to figure out like what do I do with this? Like what is going to be my regular release schedule? What am I going to make videos of? Is it going to be long form? Is it going to be short? How much editing do I want to do? How much video can I take? And then try to find a consistency piece. Okay, well, I'm going to make this video of this box I open. Okay, well, are you going to open a box every week and take a video of that? So you have to kind of figure out, what your regular activity is going to be, and then is it worth making videos of? Like, is anybody going to want to watch it? So that's where I'm at. I kind of go away from sales videos from time to time, and then I make more sales videos, make more. So it's definitely a piece that has. I saw some weird stuff, so I think that's what kind of keeps the popularity to it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to not. I try to zig a little bit versus the zaggers, and I think there's some interest in that when I make a video. And I sell like Blizzard Diablo cards. People are like, "What are you doing? Where did you even get those?" Uh, I sell pinups, nude pinup cards once in a while.
Yeah.
The flaming carrot cards, I got a pretty good buzz from those when I had some sales on those. They're like, what the heck are flaming carrot cards? So I like that stuff. I buy card deck cards, like Uno deck cards, not like the NFL Unos, but like other stuff of different characters and things. And yeah, so I try to sell. Charlie's getting better at the weird stuff. You do a pretty good
Yeah.
amount of weird stuff, like the chips, the baseball chips. Those were cool.
Yeah.
As kind of a weird thing. So the Silda videos, I don't think I'm ever gonna get entirely away from those because they're just too popular. And again, pretty easy video to make to some degree. I put a camera on my chest and I'm pulling cards, which I got to do anyway. Um, because it's on the GoPro, it's a little bit extra work because I got to transfer the video over and then I got to convert it to YouTube and then I got to upload it. But most of that I can do just leaving it sit on the desk while I'm working on something else. So honestly, that's a big part of it. I don't have a huge viewership. I'm not going to make viral videos doing this. So I need to keep it to something that can be easy and uh, allow for me to do the things that I really have to do to make a living. And then, this is can fit into that without taking away time from things that are
Sure.
really have to be done. Yeah, I love making videos and I like the feedback and I enjoy all of you guys, watching them and participating. So yeah, thanks for the feedback. All right. All right, who do we got here? We got Bargain Boxer. Whatever happened to Brock Purdy? That dude literally dropped off the face of the map. Well, I don't think so. He's still the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. They did not have a good year last year. I don't necessarily think it was because of him. He played okay, but yeah, they did not have a very consistent team play. They had a lot of injuries. You know, some of those kind of tale as old as time type of things. I think they had a pretty good draft from what I've read from some analysts. So, oh, we'll see what happens. But they had a lot of players that were going to cost them a lot of money, and they had kind of let some of them go. So, like Debo's gone, and some other bigger names. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Brock Purdy's still there. He's still playing pretty well. He's fairly healthy. So I expect they could have a bounce back here. NFL can be very fickle at times. You know, but what works for you one year doesn't work for you the next year.
Yeah, you talk about the 49ers having a down year. The problem with Brock Purdy is he really didn't do anything to make the season memorable still while they're having a down year, right? Which is exactly what you would expect from Mr. Irrelevant. Like, he's not there to be an MVP and a game changer and a future Hall of Famer. He's a game manager who can not lose a game, but he can't necessarily win a game for you either.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like other great game manager type players in history, think of Drew Brees, right? Drew Brees, Hall of Fame player, excellent quarterback. Can you name like this huge play that he had that, you know, was just amazing athletic type play that was over the top that no other quarterback could do? No, that wasn't how he played. I guess I wouldn't necessarily call him a game manager. I think he's, you know, a little bit above that, but even Brady, right? He gets credit for being the best ever, and a lot of his stuff was just game mechanics. You know, heck, he even forgets when it's fourth down. So yeah, I don't think he was on the greatest team last year, and Charlie's right. I don't think he did anything truly exceptional that would have made it more memorable. All right, let's see. Yes, Bowman has the shortest shelf life of any product for resale. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I figure most sets have like about 2 weeks. I figured Bowman probably had like a week. So that's where I was coming from when I asked about it. But it sounds like you can kind of squeeze 2 weeks out of it, though, according to what Charlie was reading.
Well, there's typically some good hold candidates in there too.
That's true. Well, I think the real key is one of those players must actually do something, right? Like if the whole class becomes a pretty big bust or doesn't really do anything in its, you know, launch year, I think it's going to be really hard to hold that value.
Yeah.
You know? But it also has a long tail. Some prospects that don't sell at release pop out of nowhere and become the best cards 2 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I could see that. Because a lot of it is, I mean, aren't some of these kids still in high school?
Yeah.
that are in that set. So I mean, they're not even like, they can't play yet. There's no way they can even get on that field yet. So yeah, you're probably looking at quite a few of those. Now, is Bowman like all prospects, or is there vet cards in there? There's some vet cards in there, definitely, because I buy them from other years. So so at least that maybe can help hold some value too. You know, if you can get some Judges and some Otanis and stuff out of there, you can at least get a couple of bucks back. But yeah, it's definitely all about, you know, hitting the home run with that one prospect. Bowman has some staying power depending on prospects. There you go. We were just talking about this. Lots of collectors would assume to have that first Bowman over a base rookie. Problem is what ifs with those young guys. Yeah, they're, you know, and Charlie kind of said it earlier too. You got about a 10% shot at hitting something that actually pans out, because most of those guys aren't going to really get anywhere. One thing I found interesting, though, that's made me lean more towards baseball this year. Well, I was already kind of going to add a lot more baseball in, but prospects that don't really make it still sell.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, it's sporadic and it's not for a lot of money, but I had a guy, because remember I would just buy prospect lots every year.
yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And so the last couple of years I'd just be listing like these random junk, first Bowmans and some rookies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had some guy come in and buy like 40 Twins cards from me of like all these junk prospects, guys that you've never heard of before, or
Yeah.
most of us haven't, unless you follow it real close. And I was like, that's a great sale. I probably paid like a penny a card for that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
getting a couple of bucks a pop for them. I was like, wow, that's not terrible. Um, no, I wouldn't count on that, and I'm certainly not going to have all 32 teams jump up and say, hey, I'll take 40 of your best junk prospects that never made it on my team. But still, it was kind of encouraging because I'm like, if they didn't make it, I just assumed there would be no sale because there's no veteran side to it. It's a base paper card. There's no auto. There's no flashy flash. Unless you're a super die hard like college baseball card collector, maybe you would want it or something. I don't know. But that was just an example. That 40 card order was a big example, but I've sold quite a few of those cards like that, even as singles and doubles and stuff. So that kind of boosted me a little bit to like, okay, I can take some chance on some Bowman stuff if it's pretty cheap. Or prospect stuff for that matter. It doesn't necessarily have to be Bowman, but yeah. But yeah, expect about 90% of it to not really make any actual run, in Major League Baseball, of course. I think some people like them too for autographs, to be honest with you.
Sure. Yeah. I've heard that.
A lot of buyers will actually maybe even buy like a stack of them. So if you can get quantity, that can be a good play. Because they might buy 10 of them, oh, this guy, lives down the block from me, or this, when they hit the grapefruit league, I go to the grapefruit league and I can get some autographs, stuff like that. Or even, what is that called? TTM, where you mail them in. I'm trying to remember what the letters stand for.
Yeah.
Mail time. I don't know, whatever. But there's so many like autograph collectors and they'll collect any player. If they have a card, they want the autograph. So I think there's some action there because Bowman paper cards are awesome for autographs, right? They're usually pretty kind of plain white border. They're a nice matte, finish, so they're easy to get a Sharpie on there, get a nice auto. So I think there's some of that happens too. My biggest problem with that product is I just think they would make way too much of it. So unless
there's
you
a lot of
pull
products you can say that about though.
there's a lot. So unless you pull like, the 1 out of 10, short print auto type of thing of the best prospect in the set, it's gonna be really hard for you to, get a ton of value out of the product. But Bo probably did it best. You open it that day, you do a big live auction and sell as many as you can. And you take the stuff that you figure you can get the better money for right off the bat, pop it in your asking price with best offer. And, if the time starts dragging, you take those offers so that you sell it in the inflated pricing time period, and you move on. That's probably the best way to play it. Check out the anime hits in Bowman. Pretty cool stuff.
Cool.
I did see some of those. I believe they're pretty darn rare though, correct?
Yeah.
It's like one per like every few cases. I don't even think it's one a case. So yeah. You kind of say that for any product too, right? Oh, if you get the big hit, then it's worth it. Well, yeah, of course it is. They also have a neat insert set this year where the players are themed with their own card shop in the background of their image in the back of the card. Interesting. I did not know that. That's cool. I'm with you, Charlie, on the sleeve. I'd rather see the card not in a sleeve so I can see the card's condition better.
Yeah.
So that means you also agree with me, Dan, because I said the same thing. But yeah, I just don't see where the sleeve adds value in the photo. You know, now if the card in the photo is not sleeved, I buy it, and then it comes to me in an envelope without a sleeve or a top loader or a card saver. Now we got a problem because now you didn't take care of the card to ship it. It needs that protection for shipping, but it doesn't need it for a photo. My personal opinion. And I've never had anybody message me and say, I was gonna buy this card, but I can see it doesn't have a sleeve, so I'm not gonna buy it because I only buy sleeved. I don't know. I've never had that happen. So, but I have had it happen the other way where I used to take pictures in top loads, and I would get the messages, "Can you take it out of the top load and send me a photo?" Let's see. Yeah. Then my stupid link that I posted is after that. Sorry, guys. I'm not here to pump live streams by any measure. Let's see. Nobody is in high school or college. They're all professional baseball players. Okay. So do they have to be in like single A minimum? Is that what we're talking about here for Bowman? I'm assuming that's what he means.
Yeah, I don't know, because like the prospect list, like Slade Caldwell, they list him as an Ole Miss player. So I'm not. I really can't agree or disagree with that because I just don't know enough
Yeah.
about Bowman.
Yeah, I don't either. Keith says his channel is almost a vlog in itself. I record as I go. I do enjoy discussing my sales in those vids. I found that box rips are actually the hardest videos to record. Yeah, I've done a lot of box rips in the past. It's not my favorite video to do. And it of course it all comes down to, do you actually hit something in the box? It's hard to get viewers if the box rip is boring. And I would what I would do now is I would kind of save that for like smaller boxes, like a blaster box rip. I do videos called quick rips, is what I call them. So if I do a box rip video, it's not going to be like, score football where you have like 700 cards you pull out of a box. I just don't want to go through all that. I think it's better for like higher end products and, where you're going to get hits for sure. And there's only a few cards per box, that kind of thing. So it's kind of how I go with that. Yeah. And I think it's smart to, discuss some sales. It's smart to discuss a bit of what you're buying. I mean, you're making the videos because you're trying, at least how I do it, I'm making the videos to try to help somebody else or share my experience or whatever. So if you don't kind of tell them what you're doing, you're not really making the video about your activity. So yeah, Keith, you're probably right. It is a little bit of a vlog style. Excuse me. For that, for your channel, and it seems to work for you. So go for it.
Bo's right. All of these prospects have at least signed a major league contract.
Right. But can't you sign a major league contract when you're still in high school?
You can, and then like there are Dominican Summer League players all the time in there too, which aren't actually playing in the minors.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm not quite sure what qualifications are, to qualify you to be in that set, but yeah. I think I'd seen a couple players in college uniforms. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but
yeah, everybody I pull up in Bowman on this prospect list is shown in a major league uniform with their major league club's uni on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that actually makes it better in my opinion. of a product.
Yep.
Through the mail, TTM. Thanks. You're right.
That
You're
makes
right.
sense.
I couldn't remember what the letters were. I don't participate in that stuff, but I've heard it before, and so appreciate you for getting me through that one. TTM through the mail. Yep. Good evening, non-gentlemen. Ooh, I love it. Good one, Johnny. Hope all is well. All is well. We're hanging in there. One time I remember someone asking me a question if the card came sleeved and top loaded when I shipped. Yeah, and that's a good point. I've gotten that before too. You know, how do you ship the card, or do you use a top load? Do you use a card saver? Do you use, I think that's a fair question, and I think they could ask you that even if you took the picture of a sleeved card. They might still want to know, how you packing it up, but I don't get that very often, and certainly not enough to go, well, I better take all my photos sleeved and top loaded now. No, I did it again. I posted the link.
Oh, Adam.
I know. Let's see. I just had a guy complain in feedback that didn't ship in a top loader. I shipped it in a card saver. Yeah, you're going to get some of that. That's just par for the course. People can always find something to complain about.
Can't please everybody.
That list doesn't have their teams updated. Slade Caldwell is with the Diamondbacks.
Yep.
I'll take your word for it because I have no clue who that is. I have 200 plus Kyle Wright first Bowman cards via a lot I bought. Well, there you go. How'd that work out, Joe? Let's see. We got Troy back in here. Of course, Bo is right. He is the baseball guy. Well, there you go. And that's why we were asking him, because I'm like, I don't follow all this stuff. Then my stupid streaming link. They divide up Oh, hold on. They divide up the prospects amongst each Bowman release. Bowman Chrome is typically your international signing first Bowman guys. Bowman Draft is focused on each year's MLB draft players, but not all.
He's going to leave us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we didn't get the other half of that comment there. So you're up. You got to finish your statement there. But yeah, I guess maybe there are some rules of how to get in each one of those sets, and I wasn't quite sure how that worked. And yeah, for the most part, I'm just, I buy lots or I buy them out of boxes or whatever. I'm not going to have that stuff, so I don't look too far into it. Let's see. Think I should keep holding on to my Greg Jeffries rookie cards. You should. Actually, you might be surprised, but Greg Jeffries rookie cards sell okay. I've listed quite a few and they go. You can get them cheap, of course, but like the 89 Upper Deck. Yeah, I think the 89 Tops Traded was the other one I've sold a few of. He has that kind of somebody was banned. Okay.
Yeah, we had a spammer.
Okay. I like draft busts, especially when they still come up in topic in current times. So Ryan Leaf, Johnny Manziel, Greg Jeffries. I'm trying to think of who else. There was another a big baseball one that everybody was buying into, and he was a complete bust. But yeah, I think it's fun because to some degree they're still relevant because we still talk about them. I probably hear Ryan Leaf or Johnny Manziel come up more than I do like Daniel Jones or one of those guys. That's So if they're on the brain, they can be out of the wallet too. I'm ready, Conquest, says Bo. I have no idea what he posted, so we're just going to leave it at that, I guess.
It's like stand by for my arrival or something like that.
Okay. They don't add all draft picks just to sprinkle them into next year's main Bowman release. Yeah, makes sense. Got to hold some. Keep holding some cards, right? I've sold Greg Jeffries rookies out of my dollar box at card shows. Yeah, exactly. I've sold quite a few of them too, so they're not a bad play. The show's getting popular when you see more bots. Yeah, that's probably true. By the way, if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up if you enjoy the live show, we'd appreciate it. Share it to someone who you think might enjoy it if they haven't seen it yet. For those of you watching recorded, we appreciate your view. If you'd like to join us live, we are live every Wednesday, 8 Central Standard Time, right here on this channel. And we'd love to have you join us live because we get to chat, and the chat can be fun, and you too can reply to comments that are then later removed.
Bo got them because they hit like 5 of them right away, and I had to react to multiple ones before it removed them.
They're looking for that posting count. That posting count, they want to bump that up for whatever reason. Somebody told me that they have this. No, there's a conspiracy theory. So everybody, put your tinfoil hat on for a second for this. But somebody told me that the sites themselves create these bots because they want to juice up like views and stuff. And I'm like, wow, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like so YouTube would create a bunch of bots and just throw them out there, and they would post randomly on different live feeds and stuff. Because the more the more videos get views, the more they can charge for ad fees, right? So I was like, kind of, if you think about it like monetarily, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I don't know that it's true by any measure, but I just found it an interesting mention. Okay, where are we? Problem is, I didn't get them when he, yeah, cheap when he was a rookie. No, his stuff was way inflated for a long time. Let's see. Greg Jeffries, man, going back to my childhood. Well, yeah, all of our childhoods. We all remember that dude. He was supposed to really be something. Made a lot of people made a lot of money on Greg Jeffries 88 and 89. Don't hold. No, I would say don't hold. I did not get in on the Greg Jeffries train at all back in the day. But I'm more of a vet guy, as you know. Brian Taylor. Yes, I've made money on Brian Taylor cards. Even to this day, you can sell Brian Taylor cards. He was a high Yankees prospect. That's generally enough. He doesn't have to do anything in the league to get some following out of Yankees fans. But yeah, he was supposed to be one of the next best things as well. Working with Chris at Cards Infinity for a while taught me a lot about some Bowman. Sorting for days, LOL. Bowman was the second biggest sort day after Flagship Series 1, which makes sense. I think that's probably still the case today. Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel is fun buy for what was and now cheap, 25 to 50. Yeah, I buy, Charlie knows, Tim Tebow is one of my big plays. And Teddy Two Gloves, baby.
Teddy Two Gloves.
And Gardner Minshew, and there's tons of players like that. Another good one is Don Mikowski for around here.
The Magic Man.
Packer fans love Magic, and he wasn't around very long. He got ousted by Favre pretty quick after he got injured. Yeah, stuff like that. Those are all great plays. And I hate to say it, but also infamous players, I buy Ray Caruth rookies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Good markets for that. As a matter of fact, do I have one right here? Because I had some Ray Caruth to list. Let me see if I've got one here I can pull out real quick. Can't remember if I actually listed them yet or not. Yeah, I don't have one in this stack. But yeah, I know, because when I was putting together my Whatnot show, I'm like, do I put a Ray Caruth card in my Whatnot show? Something felt weird about it. I don't
So
think
you
I
didn't
did.
do it.
Maybe I did. Maybe I do have one in there. No, I'm not sure, and I have to check. Ugh. Oh, let's see. Charlie, give them a topic to talk about while I'm searching this out here.
Oh, so we need some coffee talk. Talk
Some
amongst yourselves.
coffee talk.
So we talked about SI for kids. I find that an interesting one. I don't know. We just got done talking about what is the peak reselling period for Bowman, but I think SI for kids is even more volatile and short. Like those issues come out and either they go in that first week or a lot of those can sit for a long time. Like the prices that first week too are exponentially higher than what I see down the road. And I don't know, like, is it all the FOMO value? Like people that don't get it off, they don't have a store near them to get the magazine and have to go out there and get it elsewhere that swipe all those up, but they sure seem to fall off pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it's the same as like a new product release, right? So you have that week the magazine comes out, and you quick rush and get them listed.
Yeah.
You get some buyers right away. I feel like there can be long-term play on those too, depending on what it is, just like any other card for that matter. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. I think nobody's running out and buying boxes of SI for kids stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
you've got a few people get a few issues, and you don't really know. You have no idea what cards are coming in it. Like
Yep.
they don't tell you, oh, next week's issue is going to have, Luca and his Lakers uniform kind of thing. You get the magazine, you're like, holy crap, there's Luca in his Lakers uniform, and he doesn't have a Lakers card yet. Dang,
Right.
list that thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I think some of it is like, oh my God, I'm a Luca and a Lakers fan. Look at what's on eBay right now. I got to buy
Yeah.
this thing for $20. And then a week later, a few more people with the magazine have listed them, and now they're down to $12 or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
here's the
think
Ray
it's
Caruth.
very event specific. Like you talked about the Luca card. I sold a Lynn St. James SI for Kids card. I think it was my first of the day this morning. The first female NASCAR driver or Indy driver or whatever. That has historical significance, right? Or you get someone's first card in there. But let's say you were talking about Drew Brees before. Let's say you get another Drew Brees card in there. What are the prospects for that? It's not a high quality card, right? It's just thin paper. It's a tear out. If it's not significant for any reason, what's the prospects of those?
I saw a ton of them. So I mean, I posted in the Discord today because everybody was like, "Wow, my first of the day was Sports Illustrated for Kids." Somebody else posted, mine was Sports Illustrated too, and I'm like, wow, I just got a 20 card order of Illustrated for Kids, or 12 cards, whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
Um, I think sometimes what you run into too is because they're not very highly produced, and actually less so now because they print. There's a lot less magazines,
Yeah.
naturally. But I think, let's say you're a Drew Brees collector, right? And now this weird card comes in this magazine. You're gonna have to go get that thing, right? Well, you know what I'm saying. It's not like you can go buy a pack. It's not like you're gonna find it
Yeah.
in a value box.
Yeah.
Um, it's not like you can get a stack of 100 of them for $2.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. I like things that have lower print runs. You're
Mm-hmm.
naturally going to get more sales and more action and better pricing on, you know, how many people get the magazine and never tear the cards out and do anything with them?
Yeah.
How many of those subscriptions are actually for kids, and the kids don't, they don't care about the cards, or take the card and pin it up to their board, like I did when I was a kid. Um, I think there's different plays on that card versus buying packs of Bowman.
Sure.
So, but you're right. Just like anything, when a magazine first comes out, you list the cards, you get a few sales on them right away, and at good prices, and then they drop off a little bit. I think that's just the natural order of things for basically anything that's released.
Yeah, I think the thing that always strikes me is just that thin paper doesn't doesn't draw someone to say, oh, that's a really nice card, right? Like you can
Yeah,
get that in a lot of random sets where there's just some really nice card, really nice designs. The photography's the paper quality is so every month or every quarter when that comes out, there's like 2 cards that you really get excited about, and then the rest are like, this is probably going to take a long time to sell.
the other great part about those, though, is you get cards from all kinds of different sports.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's maybe the only place you get that I don't know, that women's soccer player that
Hmm.
maybe it hasn't hit NWSL's set yet, or you get some college players, and that's where I say,
Sure.
yeah, sometimes you get a player's first card ever in there.
Yep. Yeah, but you can also get like the future rowing champ, or a couple issues ago you had Tiger Woods' kid, on a
Yeah,
golf card. He's never even had a card before. So I don't know. I think it's an amazing opportunity, and they're super fun and relatively cheap if you think about it. You get what,
right,
3, 6, 9? You get 9 cards in a magazine, and it's like, if you subscribe, it's like $4 an issue or $3 an
right.
issue or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so it's virtually zero money spent, and then if the issue ends up being hot and there's some really good cards in it, you can always pick up some extra issues too. That's usually what I
Yeah,
do. Yeah, it is. I think in the card universe, I think it is the most intriguing product because it's so
yeah.
weird. you know?
Well, and what I found myself thinking about is even the random cards that there's not a huge market for, you don't really find them in value boxes that often.
Never, never.
Yeah,
Most of the ones I've bought a lot of sports because I was buying them before like anybody cared, thankfully, because now it's harder to get them. But
yeah,
I would just go out and buy like 1,000 card lots for like $15 or $10. It was great. You don't have to tear them out. You don't have to do none of that,
yeah.
especially now because now they're scannable now. So they were a pain in the butt to list one by one before because they're all like different years and stuff. But um, yeah, so that was amazing. I was getting all kinds of good stuff, and there are some big selling Sports Illustrated for Kids cards. That Britney Spears card sells pretty well. The first Tiger Woods card, the Vanessa, is it, oh, Venus Williams, Vanessa, what's her name? I'm
Venus,
getting this, Serena
Venus and
Williams.
Serena. Yeah,
Serena is the big one. Um, some of the Jordan ones go for pretty good money. Early Kobe ones, like they're a solid play. Uh, if you have the right stuff, of course. Um, yeah, I love them. It's one of my favorite products ever for card collecting. Let's see. Any luck? Oh, hold on. Any luck getting your hands on any of the Brewers police cards they are giving out? No, I do not have any of the new ones. I generally buy those in like lots or collections well after the year that they're out. And I'm nowhere near Milwaukee, so I don't think the police even hand out Brewers cards here, do they?
I don't know.
I know I got a bunch of older sets of them from a police officer in Manitowoc. Um, which, if you don't know our area, Manitowoc is about an hour south of us,
A
in
little less.
Green Bay. Little less than that. and then Milwaukee's like another hour south of that. So it's like almost a halfway point between where I am and where Milwaukee is. But I don't know that I've seen them any further north than that. Oh, here we go. Only available in La Crosse, Milwaukee, Madison, and Green Bay. Interesting. In Green Bay, huh? I got a buddy who's on the sheriff's. He's with the sheriff's department, so maybe I'll buzz him and say, "Hey, man, you got any of these Brewers cards?"
Yeah.
He's probably like, "What are you doing? Don't bother me with that." I have bigger fish to fry in this town. Oh yeah, I think I have 20. I think I have 25 of those Kyle Wrights on eBay, 25 on BSC, and sometimes I give one out as a bonus card. Wow. Yeah, I never like invested heavily into any prospects like that. LeBron's first card was SI Kids. I have a few copies, but I'm afraid to do something with it, so it sits in a folder. I have some early LeBron ones too. I think you're referring to the one where he's still in his high school uniform, and I have a copy of that too. Mine is torn out, so fortunate that way. I don't have to go, do I really want to try to tear this card out and not screw it up? But yeah, if you have it on a solid sheet, you probably want to keep it that way. Let's see. They are in packs of 4 and 5 cards this year and have players as comic book covers.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
fun.
now I want them. Way to go. Now I have more work to do this week because I got to chase down these police cards. Trying to think of I'm trying to think of a police off. Like I said, I'm pretty good friends with somebody on the sheriff's department, but I don't know about anybody with the police department. I have to think about that. Yeah, those sound kind of awesome. So I'm gonna have to look into that. Thanks for the tip there on that one. And that's
Yeah.
the beauty of the Discord, which is rolling by the bottom here. This is where we share a lot of those tips and tricks. And hey, I found these, or hey, look at that, or hey, don't let this guy bid on your items. We kind of work all together on that. So join the Discord if you haven't. It's free. Love to have you. I'm sorry, Charlie. What were you gonna say?
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay then.
You're imagining it.
Probably. You know what we had for dinner tonight?
No, I don't.
We had trip. Do you know what trip is?
Well, I'm thinking tripe.
Nope. That's what everybody
Uh,
says, but no, it's not the
okay.
same thing.
Okay.
It's trip, TRIPPE. For those of you who want to look into it. So it's a Belgian sausage made of pork, seasoning, and cabbage. Basically it's in a bratwurst form. And they are just they're life changing. So
All right.
anyway, I just thought I'd mention it. I had a little bit of a belch, and I got a little bit of that trip savory, and I'm like, oh, that's so good. I got to tell everybody about
Yeah.
my trip. I've been getting this from a real Belgian butcher, up in Sturgeon Bay for years and years and years and years. You ever hear of Marchant's?
Yeah, I
Marchant's
think I have.
Meadery. Stop there. Do yourself a favor. Get a little pack of trip and grill that sucker up, and yeah, you'll thank me later. I promise.
I have confirmation on the Green Bay Police and the comic-inspired trading cards.
So how do we get these things?
Well, I can't tell you that.
I mean, if
Not
they're
until
just
I
for,
get
they're just for. Are you serious? Can you like order them on there or what?
them. No, it's just there's local news articles about them.
Really?
Yeah.
So I gotta
Ooh.
start waving down cops now.
You want to see one?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there's only like 3 players that matter, but
only 3 players that matter.
yeah,
There's a Jackson Churio one. They're going to show up.
right. That's the winner right
Unfortunately,
there.
it's embedded in a video, so I gotta key it up to the
Oh,
part in the video where they show it. Of course, in the teaser article, they show it, but when you click on it, it's in the video. But
well,
they,
I'll track some of these down. I'm sure I can get some. I, you know where I think would be a good spot to pick some up? Card and
oh,
Coin
here we go.
Corner,
Yeah, they
because
often have
they,
a lot of that stuff, right?
yeah, and he does the because they buy gold, silver, and jewelry. They have the police in once a week because they have to make sure it's not fenced stuff.
Yep.
So I imagine he's gonna be like, "Do you have any of these brewer packs?" Well, I can't see that.
Yeah, I'm working on it for you, old man. Oh, that was too far.
Yeah, Yelich, who's that?
Yeah.
Oh, he's that guy who was good like 10 years ago, right?
I don't know. He crushed like a 483 footer last night. So,
Well,
um,
everybody falls on the ball once in a while.
yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah. No, why don't the card companies, oh, I like the Frelick.
Look, they even look distressed,
They almost look like cereal boxes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Get some
We're
of
on a
those.
mission.
Do they have a picture of the backs of them? Do they show like the different printing places like the old sets do?
Not that I've seen, but I can tell
Okay.
you that I'm going to have my son talk to the police liaison officer at school
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right. Better. He's gonna be like, no, I gave out like a whole box of these already today. Everybody's been
Well,
hitting me up.
here's the base, what the base looks like too. So those comics must be like inserts. I got to pull it back up for you
They
here.
have inserts in police cards? Come on.
I know, right? But yeah, there's some base there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't quite as exciting.
Not as cool.
No. Well, maybe the base are just like the boring players, and then the comics are like the good players.
I mean, that's Jackson Churio. There's not a more
Oh,
exciting
that
player
was
for the
Churio?
Brewers right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, okay. I couldn't tell who it was in your tiny pictures.
Tiny pictures. Speaking of Churio, here is here's the Churio card.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
The
That'll do
Cream
okay.
City Comet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I gotta think about how to get these. Where's the who do I know police wise where I could hit him up for some of these? Well, I guess I could try my guy down in Manitowoc. I mean, he's not in Green Bay, so I don't know if he'll be able to get any, but
I'm sure this dude appreciates the airtime tonight in our content.
yeah, I'm sure he really cares. Yeah. Yeah. With all 30 of us sitting in this room here. All right. That's it. That's all I had for tonight. Any other topics? We're caught up on the chat, so uh
Yeah.
I think we're just kind of biding our time. This is sort of that slowy period.
It's a little
Sales
slow
aren't
down
quite as
here.
big. Yeah, I mean, maybe in a couple weeks, when the NBA starts wrapping up, hockey starts wrapping up, that kind of thing. Maybe it'll get some juice again. And then we start getting into the national and the summer months and full swing of the baseball hype and things pick up again more that way. But big focus for me is on non-sport right now. Non-sport and hot baseball players. That's basically the world I'm playing in the most
Yeah.
to get
It
listed, and then everything else is going to kind of sit.
it's always my core.
Yeah. Well, it isn't for me. It depends on what time of year it is. There's definitely an emphasis on football at times. I'd like to pick up some golf. I know there's a new golf product out, an upper deck golf.
Okay.
Um, and I don't have a lot of modern golfers, and there's a pretty big fan base for that. So I think that could be a decent thing. I don't know what the cost is, but um, I'm hoping to find some in like value boxes and stuff.
Okay.
So we've got the Goat Show coming up June 8th. For those of you who can be in the Green Bay area and want to join us, June 8th, 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock at the Riverside Ballroom. Hope to get some pickups there. There's some new Topps football products I want to try to pick up. There's a Finest product out, I think. I'm really bad at product releases because I just look for them in boxes
Yeah.
after the fact. But yeah, I'm hoping to maybe score some of the golf stuff too. So we'll see. And I think, um, is it Topps? I think Topps just got the license for Marvel products.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so
think
I
you're
don't think
right.
it's going to be Upper Deck anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I did read that
So
someplace.
I know that there's a couple of big products they've been working on, so I'm kind of hoping that we get some releases before the GOAT show for that too, so I can pick some out of dealer boxes
Yeah.
potentially. That would be ideal. Gotta message our Kakao guy and see if he's got any cool new stuff too,
Yeah.
because he likes to get that import stuff, those Japanese cards and that, and I want that stuff, as much of it as
So
I can get.
so I've that stuff comes from overseas, and being in
Yeah.
transportation, I typically am watching some of the transportation trends. Um, Containers are down like to 30% of previous month volume because of the tariffs.
Gee, why is that?
I know.
I
So your
did. I
Kakao stuff might not be as easy to get.
Yeah. And it is what it is, right? You got to pivot and
Yeah.
get to whatever you can get to. I did see some things today about the first, containers have hit shore now that are going to have the 145% tariff
Yeah. Hmm.
attached to it. So I was really interested in, okay, what's in that container? Like who felt like 145% was worth it
Yeah.
to not cancel orders and bring this stuff here?
Hmm.
Um, it's got to be something like big and can sell no
Essential.
matter what. Yeah, I'm thinking like iPhones or something,
Yeah.
um, where people will buy it no matter how much it goes up in price. There's going to be a market. So that was kind of what I was leaning towards. I believe, if I'm following it correctly, it's so hard to follow because it changes all the time. But I believe there are some small products coming from China that are not subject to tariff,
Hmm.
like some low
There is
dollar
an
items.
exemption list. I believe you're right about that.
Yeah. So and then I was thinking, well, what qualifies as like small dollar items? Are you talking like Kinder eggs? Like Kinder eggs are still okay, or I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's so weird. I don't know what to think about any of it. So we'll have to see how it impacts. Now, for me, it doesn't really change my life at all. I'm not much of a consumerism. I don't really buy stuff. I play in my cards, which are generally going to be U.S. money, non-tariffed products versus supplies. I guess supplies would be the exception, but I don't buy a lot of electronics. I'm older. I've been in my house. I have my 9 TVs. I got all that stuff. So
Yep.
I kind of feel like tariffs aren't really going to be a big hammer to me. I'm not buying any cars, anything like that. So
I got mine
um,
done. I'm good to go.
I yeah, and if you buy used, you're not going to face that. So there's
That's
some ways
true. Yeah.
around it a little bit, but uh, I feel like I can wait it out pretty good. I mean, there's probably a couple of products where I'm gonna have to be like, this is double the price. That sucks.
Yep.
Um, but I am buying my new laptop this week, so that'll be pre-tariff. It's gonna be products that are already there, not tariffed. So I'll
Didn't
get
you
that
say
one
that a
over with.
couple
That's
weeks
about the
ago
only
you
one.
were buying it this week?
No, I said I would be buying it soon because my daughter she's gonna take my old laptop for school. She needs one for school, so
Yeah.
kind of made sense. Kind of makes sense. So,
Okay.
but yeah, and it's not this week. It's next week. I'll be picking that up. Because now it's the time. If I don't buy it now, it's going to end up being a tariffed product within a few weeks.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I don't want to take $1,000 laptop and spend $2,000 on it. So,
Makes sense.
yep. So we're gonna do it, and then she'll have a laptop. Then that's like the kind of the last real consumer electronic product I have to purchase for a while. Hopefully, knock on wood. That and maybe a printer. So we'll see. I'm hoping maybe I can find some kind of a deal where a lot of times you can buy like a computer and you get a printer for free or something like that. So we'll see.
Okay.
See what I find. But yeah, next week is the week for sure. And I'll show you all. I'll say, here's my fancy new laptop, envy me. You know, and hopefully I'll do the show from the laptop so I don't have to use my stupid phone anymore. That's gonna be one of the big advantages to it. Which by the way, my phone's down to 5%. So
Oh boy.
we're ending this pretty soon here. So good timing. All right, but that's all I got. Anything you want to add?
No, I'm spent. I gotta get some sleep, get ready for another long day tomorrow. Feel like I got 2 days left of a long grind, and things are gonna start feeling a little better next week in the office. So need to get some rest to finish her out.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, rest is important. I feel like I never get enough either. Some due to my own punishment. I like to get up early and then inevitably occasionally stay up late, like for a live show. Um, and yeah, it just never really catches back up. But hey,
Yeah.
that's the YouTuber's glorious, life, I guess. I don't know.
The YouTuber's glorious life. I like that.
Yeah, the content creator never sleeps.
Yep.
So, by the way, it was lovely having your family over last weekend for dinner and a little goat show planning. So,
Yeah.
we're all going to be all set for the June show. Hopefully, we see a lot of you there. Um, again, make sure you join us live every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'd love to have you on here participating in the chat. Join the Discord, which is running along the bottom there. Patreon link if you want to contribute to the channel, help me out. Keep the content coming. Get me a fancy laptop so I can make better content. And then whatnot tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Link is in my video from previously today. Check it out there. Bookmark it. It's on my Facebook page. It's on the Instagram, so you should be able to find it in the Discord, of course. But that's it.
Sounds like a wrap. Remember, if
Yeah.
you see the goat, we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
And remember, can't sell what you don't list. See y'all next week.